Welcome to the Full Moon in Taurus Channeling Workshop. This is the first time that I'm doing this, so thank you for donating. I appreciate it. Please consider getting one of the angel number downloads or booking a session if you enjoy this reading and it speaks to you. I'm really excited to go over this. First things first, I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of sidereal versus tropical astrology. So tropical astrology is like the Western standard, whereas sidereal or Vedic astrology, these are more in line with Eastern practices. The difference being what some people call true sky astrology is sidereal. And so if you were to download an app like Night Sky, Sky Safari, and you look at the positioning of the planets, they're not gonna line up with what you might be getting from mainstream astrologers. And the reason for that is because the algorithms run on two different ideas of the sky. When we take into account that the Earth's axis has a tilt, and the sky wobbles on pretty much, I believe it's like a 26,000 year pattern, the sequence of the planetary processions change. And so right now, for example, we're in Scorpio season, whereas mainstream astrology would say that we're in Sagittarius. If you look up, the sun is in the constellation Scorpio. So I think over time, you'll see that, I'll talk more about this, and that's not necessarily what tonight is about, but I wanted to give context for why we're doing a full moon in Taurus and not a full moon in Gemini workshop. That being said, I love taking other people's workshops in tropical, and it's totally fine, I think, to get information about what you need from both. So however and whatever speaks to you. With that being said, what I'm seeing tonight has been really interesting because we're trying to figure out ways of moving forward. Scorpio season is a time for death and rebirth. Sidereal Scorpio season is like a week or a little bit more than a week long. It's a really short process. So the idea of like letting these things die, a lot of us have been dealing with disappointments, trying to persevere through certain kind of ideas that we've constricted ourselves to. So in a lot of people's scenarios, this is going to be social groups or relationships, but things that have kind of fallen away and we've seen them crumble where we invested a lot emotionally, but maybe intellectually you knew that there were things missing, there were things that didn't align with what you wanted and where you wanted to be. And so with that, we're finding out that, let's see, this next line is really interesting. So the Six of Coins is here, which talks about like charity and like giving things very freely, sharing wealth and generosity. And so it can be something where we're expecting this to come down the line and kind of realizing that no one's coming to save us, right? And while no one is coming to save us, there's like a rebirth around inner calling and how we show up so that we can stop looking for other people to provide our ways to prosperity. This might be honestly, it feels really heavily slanted towards entrepreneurs. People who are starting their own businesses, maintaining their own businesses, going after doing their own thing, because the Knight of Pentacles shows up and just talks about hard work, but with the Page of Cups right next to it, it's like that hard work that you've been putting in opens up opportunities for you to get creative around how your value is brought to the table. The Two of Pentacles shows up right after that and says like, there's a need for us to really center our time management around the things that are most important to us. And this time, this full moon really serves for us to kind of, I got some journal prompts coming at the end, but it really gives us time to process and document everything that we've experienced up to now so that we can discover the things that we can do differently and the ways that we can move forward coming out of Scorpio season. Because like I said, remember, it's not really that long. Over here, the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords show up. So there's a lot of support for us to get to a very firm place with our finances and our level of like security around our being. I think part of that comes with learning to be content with all the ways in which we are already fulfilled. The biggest, blessings show up when you fully appreciate and are sitting in everything that's around you, right? So the King of Swords being right underneath that says that there's a clarity that's coming about where we know that we're destined for very clear vision on what's important to us and how that supports our idea of wealth, how that supports our idea of leadership in our own lives, and the ways in which we take accountability for our actions, our dreams, and our goals, rather than just taking them from kind of like the projections of other people. And with that, we start to experience a level of fairness that I think we've been kind of missing out on. There's been this sensation that for a while, we've been dealing with a lot of disappointment that doesn't really have anything to do with how good a job we did. Yeah, definitely as far as like these relationships that have maybe fallen away. Yeah, we're being shown the ways in which our power was being taken from us and some of our best traits. We were being robbed of the ability to display some of our best traits because we were afraid of pushing people away or scaring people or intimidating people. And with those things kind of falling away and us moving from those, like Eight of Cups shows up, and then the Three of Cups, is that the Three of Cups? Oh, I'm sorry, the Three of Pentacles reversed, right? So just figuring out that like we kind of work better alone right now. We're not built for partnership right now. We're not built for togetherness right now. We're built for refining self so that we can kind of, you think about like a jigsaw puzzle piece. By further defining your edges and becoming perfect unto oneself, right? Not uniform, but perfect for the picture, you can better find where you're supposed to be. The more detailed that picture is, the less opportunity there is to like put that piece in, slide it around, try to figure out where it sits. You get to know where it sits. So a big piece of that is like allowing the vision to be completed by putting more of the puzzle together in different places, like the places that you know, the places that you can build out from. And then with that, you more clearly see the piece in which you fit. You don't have to fill all that space. You have other pieces for that. I think this is like actually like a really good example of like, we have other groups available to us. We might be dependent on certain social groups for opportunity, at least leading up to now. And so there might be this feeling like, well, if I let these relationships go, I won't have access to, or I won't be able to get in on these types of, moves or events or, maybe social groups, partnerships, things like that. And I think we're about to be very surprised by what we're able to do when we walk in by ourselves, when we don't need to be introduced by anyone else. Knight of Wands and a reversed Five of Swords, which I'm honestly going to read as like not needing to fight for everything. This is all under the High Priestess. So it's like moving with our intuition, moving with what we already know, and having our confidence and our like inspired action come from that with the Knight of Wands, rather than coming from the idea that we had to fight and grapple for everything that we have. We can let go of those grind narratives, of those like clawed my way to the top and through the mud. Like that shit isn't valid. It doesn't make it a better experience when you get to the space of rest. It just means you're more tired when you get there. So it's, whoa. And in that, we realize that we don't have to do it all. 10 of Swords reverse, or 10 of Wands reverse, sorry. We don't have to do it ourselves. We can heal from the idea that we have to do everything and kind of stand in more of a leadership role. King of Wands shows up here too. So that's interesting. King of Pentacles is here, King of Swords is here, King of Wands is here. There's a lot of energy for us to really step into leadership. It's just that we have to let go of the idea that we have to do it all ourselves. Like, be more comfortable with delegation, be more comfortable with hiring, be more comfortable with bringing people in. There are people who are ready to support you, and you're so focused on showing up with value to them that it's delaying the process. They already want to work with you. They already recognize you. I've been getting the Six of Wands for the last couple weeks. That idea of like public recognition. You're already seen for who you are and what you bring to the table. You're already celebrated for what you bring to the table. So bring it to the table, right? So yeah, I mean, that's what I got for y'all. A little bit of sidereal astrology, a little bit of tarot. I'm going to be redirecting you to either my Instagram or my TikTok for you to get a hold of the journal prompts that I've made for full moon and Taurus season. So I'm gonna put them on my website as well for people to see. But really, full moon and Taurus is about us finding out the ways in which we can be more dependable unto ourselves. How can we invest ourselves emotionally into the work that's most fulfilling for us so that it's easy to show up every day? It's actually more about like enjoying the space that you hold, enjoying the energy that you provide. And so showing up is just a matter of being, rather than that idea of like having to drag oneself to work or do something that we don't want to do, or be tied to a weight that we don't want to pull. If you want to pull the weight that you're tied to, you'll get it way further. So take advantage of this energy to process your emotions, allow yourself to sink into the Scorpio season, the time of death, the time of rebirth. And I want you to try to write down the ways in which we can let go of our attachment to certain narratives and identities that have to do with us earning and working, and proving, and rather create pathways for us to be in our truest and best ways. I love you. I'm looking forward to catching you at the next one. And in the meantime, stay tuned. Follow on YouTube. Follow on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. Peace.